demons in the spiritual world. There are other different spirits. When Adam was naming the creatures in the garden, one of the things he was also giving an understanding to, naming identity to, were spirits. And some spirits didn't have an identity, so they kind of wander, and they're more like just spirits that exist in the spiritual world. And so a lot of the New Age movement, those in the occult, will encounter these spirits because they're more about themselves. They don't serve the Lord. They're not serving the devil, but they're all about themselves. And so they have understanding of how things work in the spirit. So it's like they have some level of wisdom, but they will lead you toward destruction. If
What
you're
are
not,
they?
these spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the earth. They're around, So like just how you'll have angels in the spiritual realm in the earth. So like you have the second heaven above the firmament, where
Mhm.
there's things up there where the angels and can operate and demons can operate up in there too. But then the earth itself, there's a spiritual realm within the earth. It's not like it's earth and then spirit. The
Mhm.
spiritual realm is all around. And so when I am in that, when I see the spiritual realm, I can see, like the trees and like my apartment that I can see all that, but I also will see structures that were built by spiritual beings in the spiritual realm. I'll see safe havens. I'll see these domes where it's like a safe haven where angelic armies are stationed. They will station it like a stronghold, like an angelic stronghold, and angels will go out, and they'll report back, and or I'll see demonic strongholds. So it's not one dimensional. It's not like a flat thing. There's so much life and vibrant stuff, and I could see it all the time. And I
Definitely.
had to really get used to that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how often do you see into the spiritual realm? So you always see it. Is it a daily thing
Always,
or
yeah.
every so often?
Every day. And what's interesting is that some people can turn it off, like and I see it a little different than some. Some people will see as in their mind's eye, which is a legit way, seeing in your mind's eye, or the eyes of their spirit or eyes of their heart. I see with my physical eyes, so it's like, I can touch them and hear them and all that. Um, so I can't really turn it off. I can, tone it down in a
How?
sense to where I can do the things that I need to do, but it's always there in the distance. It's like, I've learned to, when I'm having conversations with people, because I will see the angels there, I will, all that, but I've learned to kind of like tone it down or maybe like ignore, just kind of turn it down to where I can just have a focused conversation and not, pay attention so much to what's happening, around because like when I meet someone new, my angel is also meeting their angel for the first time,
Hmm.
or sometimes this is what's crazy. Sometimes it's like that angel hasn't seen that other angel in
Hey, put this in your ear. I know how you hate going to my parents' house because they're
years. They knew each, my angel is also meeting their angel for the first time,
Hmm.
or sometimes this is what's crazy. Sometimes it's like that angel hasn't seen that other angel in years. They knew each other before they took assignments to us individually, which is so cool. When I was on the deep end with Taylor Welsh, um, and one of the things he asked me, I think off camera, he asked me about angels, and I said, yeah, well, my angel Eden is good friends with your angel. They knew each other. And so when I walked into his house for the first podcast, and I'm like, oh hey, talking, but our angels were like talking as if they knew each other.
That
And then I
is
was like,
so
oh
cool.
my goodness. But they just hadn't seen each other for those years. So it was kind of like a reunion for them. Like, hey, I remember you.
Wow.
Um, and Taylor's older than me. So, which is when you think about it, it's cool. Taylor's angel's older than me. So that means that his angel left heaven before my angel did because I was born later. Isn't that so neat?
Oh, that's
It's
neat.
just, like I said, the spiritual world is so cool. It's so colorful and so I'm sitting here meeting Taylor for the first time, and I'm watching our angels, off camera. I'm watching the angels behind Taylor, Taylor's angel and my angel Eden, just talking. We're literally just having a conversation, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like they are already friends, and I'm meeting you for the first time. It was really cool.
Wild.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
So, okay. So, is there anything else that we should know about the spiritual realm that we may not have known? Because it's not flat, like you said,
Hmm.
many dimensions.
Any
There's
dimension.
not just angels and demons, there's more entities.
Yeah, there's dragons. I've seen dragons in the spiritual realm.
Oh,
I've seen, yeah, some strange creatures. Um, Fiery birds like phoenixes in the spiritual realm.
I've heard that.
Um, the dragons are unique. So there's some dragons that are bad, and there's some that do serve the Lord that are just astounding. I mean, just they're gentle, but they're powerful. White flame, white fire
Mm.
comes from the mouth. I remember I was driving from I was at dance. I was performed at a church, ballet production at a church, and I was driving to my home church because we performed early, and I was able to go to my home church. And I'm driving home, and I look up in the sky. I'm on the highway, and I'm watching these demonic beings coming out of the sky. They look like half women, half birds, and they were very disgusting looking and claws, and they were, you know, and then breaking out of the sky came this beautiful white and gold dragon. On top of it was an angel, and the angel was steering, because the angel was standing on the head of the dragon, holding its horns, and the angel
Mm.
was steering the dragon. And
Wow.
the dragon opened its mouth, and white, glorious fire came out and just burned all the demons. And I pull over, and I'm like, "What in the world is that?" That was the first time I had seen a dragon that served the Lord, because I was trained that all dragons are evil because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dragon in Revelation. Um, and so I'm like, okay. And so I end up driving, I get my focus back, and I'm end up driving. I'm trying not to look up there, and I'm like, what is going on? And so when I get to my church, I realized that this warfare was going on over my church. And so I get inside the building and I talk to the pastor. I'm like, what is going on? And the pastor said, we have had a horrible day.
Mm.
Things are not working. People are getting sick. There's these arguments going on. And I said, there is spiritual warfare going on above the church. And so we took care of it. We joined in, and my pastor started prophesying and speaking and breaking those powers. So yeah, there's all kinds of spiritual beings, all kinds of spiritual beings, and one of them are dragons. They are, man, they are amazing. And they
Mm.
and there are some that do serve the Lord. There's some that do serve the Lord, and they are part of God's army. They're part of God's army, the host of heaven. The host of heaven is not only full of just angels, but just creatures, that do different things. And it's
Wow.
amazing. It's amazing.
Okay, well, speaking of things that are, say, out of this, or maybe in our dimension, but
I'm editing so many videos per week for all my channels, and it takes up a lot of time. I spend